whether you were here for the lesson yesterday or not, well, I think we're going to use the notes today because even though we're dealing with the same unit today or the same section in the unit, there's going to be a change today that we're going to need to be able to adjust for. So we may want to add something to the notes, actually. We probably will. So here's what I mean. So let's say we were rolling like we did yesterday. We're doing number one. We get to the sheet. We're like, okay, this looks exactly the same. This isn't going to be hard. And so we're like, all right, if I roll with what we did yesterday, I'd be like 2 sets of parentheses, okay. 7 in the practice. The notes, it's the bottom of page 3 here. So we just start with 2x and x. Just like here, we'll start with 3x and x. And yesterday, and we'll do it again on the first one, everything was plus, so I didn't have to worry about the signs at all. But, okay, gee, we got an easy C value to start with too. That's all right. My C value is 1, so I don't have a lot of choices here. I'm going to do 1 and 1, and I'm done. Now, yesterday, though, we chatted about our need to make sure before we were finished that my inside, when I multiplied them together, and my outside, that if I added them up, it ended up being the term in the middle, and it is. So if you want to keep drawing these in like this, you can, but if you're like, between looking at the notes and what I did yesterday, I don't need to see all this. I'm just going to write this and be able to check it. But what if something changes? So what if we run into something like number 2? Now at first, you're like, well, it doesn't look any different. So 2x and x. But now we get a little bit of a change. So why we're using pencil, and I should have done that on my first one, but I'll do it here. Now, my C value is negative. At this point, you have got to be getting it through without looking at notes or something, but if you do, I'm going to jot it on a Post-it here. This is what we've got on our notes from earlier, but I'll kind of stick it here too. Whoa. If that C value is negative, one of these is going to be positive and one's going to be negative. Now here's the kicker though. I can't just do this and assume that's going to be plus minus. We're going to have to take this to a whole nother level of crazy. So let me erase my plus minus. I know it's going to be plus minus, okay? I know, I got a blue eraser. With 5, I've got 1 and 5. So here's what I got to figure out. I got to figure out if I do plus minus, I could have left it for the time being here. If I just put, okay, I'm going to put 1 and 5. I'm just going to throw something out there to see what happens. 1x, negative 10x. Is 1 and negative 10 going to get me to 3? No. Okay, let's try it the other way. Let's try 5 and 1. I got to get rid of this blue eraser. This is going to drive me crazy. All right. There we go. So let's try again. 5 and negative 2. Is 5 and negative 2 get me to 3? 5 plus negative 2 is 3. Okay, I got what I wanted. So here I got positive 5x. Here I've got negative 2x. If I add them up, I get 3x. So I have found the pair that I need. There may be an instance that we even have to go so far that we start changing the plus and the minus around where they go. We didn't run into it that time, but we got to be ready for anything with these. Okay, so let's take a peek at the next one. I'm going to move my sticker over here. So if I look at this next one, I'm like, okay. So here, and I heard it right out there, since my C value is positive, okay, both my signs could be positive, they both could be negative, but the middle sign will tell me which one. That actually just made life easier. I'm not going to have to worry about flipping signs around. And so I look, and I'm like, well, 3 and 1 are your only options. So again, okay, so if I do 3 and 1, let's say. Yep, because -3 on the outside, -3 on the inside. I don't think 3 plus 3 is getting me to 10. So let's skip that idea and flip them the other way. Let's try 1 and then 3. -1 on the inside. -9 on the outside. If I add them up, -10, there it is. You will always get a pair to work if you keep moving them around. You will not run into a problem ever where it's like, well, none of them work. It's no solution. That's not a thing. These will all work. And so let's play with one more of those minus ones. Let's go down to 8. Not necessarily. Let's see what happens on 8 here. So I get to 8, and I'm like, all right, so 5x and x, because it's that first number. My C value is negative. So I know it's going to be 1 plus and 1 minus. I can't guarantee, though, that this is plus and this is minus. It might be the other way around. We get an additional little twist this time, because when I look at 9, it could be 1 and 9, it could be 3 and 3. So you're like, wait. So not only do I have to play with plus minus, it could be 1 and 9, it could be 3 and 3. I mean, I could be here for a while. So let's just say we start with plus and minus. Might as well start with 1 and 9. Yeah, the sign will matter. So we got to see. So I look and I'm like, ooh, -45 on the outside. Yeah, that's not going to work. So, okay, if that doesn't work, let's switch the numbers. Let's try 9 and 1. +9, -5. Is 9 minus 5 getting me to 12? No. So you're like, okay, that didn't work. Let's get that out of there. Let's try 3 and 3. 3 on the inside, -15 on the outside.
Yes.
That is a winner. So you notice there, I had to switch numbers around. I didn't have to switch signs around, but that can be a thing sometimes. So we've got to just keep messing with them and twisting and flipping and kind of seeing where that's going to go. So it's a little different. It's not monumentally different, but it is enough that I'm glad we kind of looked. So maybe, let's see here. Ooh. Okay, hang on a minute. Okay, what about... I'm trying to just think these through as I'm looking at them to see what could be fun. Let's try 12. 12? No, 11. Let's play 11. All right. So 2x and x. My C value is negative. You notice how I keep using this note thing, or this is in your actual notes, things like that. Just something that could be helpful. Maybe even, I'll mention it here, maybe even if you have your notes from yesterday, maybe you put something like this down in the blank area just as a reminder. Wouldn't be a terrible idea. So I see my C is negative. I'll start with it plus minus, but it may change. We'll see. So I pull up my C's and I'm like, okay, I got 1 and 21. I got 3 and 7. Again, you can start with any pair you want. You don't have to go in the order they are here. I'm just gonna because it's here, so let's see. Negative 42 outer, positive 1 inner. That's not getting me positive 1, so yeah, that didn't work. Again, this is where the pencil comes in handy, unless you want to do side work. Negative 2 and 21? No. Okay, so we've pretty much eliminated, that one don't work. Okay, what about 3 and 7? Negative 14 on the outside, positive 3 on the inside. 14 and 3 is not getting me to 1. Man, I'm running out of options here. One more try. Negative 6 on the outside, 7 on the inside. Is negative 6 and 7 going to get me there? It is. So it took me 3 shots, but I got there. But since it has the equals 0, and since it says solve over here, we're going to take each of those sets of parentheses and we're going to do our thing. And as we said yesterday and several times before that even, if you get something decimally, don't think you did something wrong. We can get decimals sometimes. Negative 7 divided by 2, we got a decimal. But if you get 2 whole numbers, that's not the worst thing on earth ever either. So, thank you. So that's how those would work. So I've got one more on my docket here that I want to do because that kind of gets us a good overview of what we're doing for now. Grouping I want to go back to because we did the GCF yesterday. So I will not put you through that again. We do have notes for this though. Just a reminder out there. We do have the grouping notes, even though I got to pull mine back out here. So my grouping notes, if I was looking for them, is back in 11.3. So I got my stuff. Oops. Doesn't help them off the screen, though. All right. In each pair, using colors, we want to find the biggest number that divides into each pair. If you're not sure, your chart can be helpful. But here I can get a 3 out of each of those. And if both terms have a variable, they do, we take the one with the smallest exponent. You see again why having the notes jotted down can come in handy. We even add stuff that makes it simpler as we go. Just saying. Once we've got that, we're dividing. Divide the bigs. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Subtract the littles. 3 minus 2 is 1. You can put the 1 there if you want to. Negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. No more x's. No more x's. Just the minus 1. So that's the first part. The second part, again, if you're not sure, so we got 14 and 7 here. Here's my 2 boxes. I'm just looking for the biggest number that I see in both boxes. 7. And then we're back to division. Hardy, you didn't take an x out. They both don't have x. I can't take an x unless they both have it. 14 divided by 7 is 2. Got my x. Negative 7 divided by 7 is negative 1. There's my key to knowing I did it right. I got the same leftovers for both. So now when I go to put my answer together, the stuff on the outside goes together with their signs. And our common set of parentheses is the other half of my answer. So, suggestions from Mr. H. Number one, practice these so you've got a better feel for this as we get a little further down the road and add a few more things next week. Secondly, if you need them, over on Classroom at the very top, every single thing so far that we've done for notes in these first 3 pages is up there. Get them down and use them so you're not getting yourself into problems. Other than that,